Let's have some fun.
Passionate.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Unflinching.
Let's go back to losing. Parking was easier.
Unrelenting.
They're not going to keep him off the field tonight.
Totally.
This one has a chance.
Dietz.
That's not just a murmur, that's a full-blown fibrillation.
Yo, Dietz, we missed you. You're kind of muted. You're muted, dude.
No,
There you
we
go. There we got it. There we got you.
The gates to Valhalla have opened.
What's going on, guys?
You look about as tired as we feel.
He looks about as tired as he looks about as tired as the Mets
coming off a 12-hour shift. The joys of night shift.
Yeah.
I was about to say he looks about as tired as the Mets bullpen after last night.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, we're back in the same situation as game one. We got blown out 9-0. Came back and won the next one 7-2. So
yeah, it's a long series. All right, let's talk. Let's talk.
It just means we have to go back to LA. That's all.
Yep, so. And beat them there again, which I believe they can do. All right, I said we do this in parts, so we're going to do this in parts. And here's the first part right here. We're going to do Dietz's top 15, and these rankings are presented by BetUS.com. There are some new entrants. There are some teams that fell. So we'll start at 15 with the Texas A&M Aggies.
A&M still looking strong, and they've got a lot of their tough games ahead of them. Of course, their only loss is to Notre Dame, so they got a lot in front of them.
We'll see Notre Dame a little later. At 14, you got the Boise State Broncos.
Like I said last week, they're going to ride the running back all the way to where they can get to, and right now they're looking like they're going to be the outside of the Power Four. They're going to be the team that gets it.
I think so. At 13, the team that took a tumble from last week, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Well, they took a tumble from them the week before, but from this week, overtime with Florida, that's not going to win you a lot.
Yeah, true. At 12, I told you we'd see this team. That's the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
At Notre Dame, steady and strong, and they look like they've bounced back from whatever happened in Northern Illinois, but the Irish are always going to be a tough team.
Yeah, they are, and I hope it stays that way. At 11, you have the Clemson Tigers.
Another team, steady and strong. The thing I love about Clemson is zero transfer. They have not taken a transfer player since the portal opened.
Dabo Swinney strikes again. That's all I have to say. Dabo Swinney strikes again. All right, we're into our top 10, and at 10, you have the BYU Cougars.
BYU continuing to be undefeated, continuing to stay strong. They got another big time game coming up this weekend. So
yes, they do, and I'm looking forward to it. At 9, we go to the land of the Purdy's and the Iowa State Cyclones.
Iowa State, another one. This is where the Big 12 is going to live. They're going to live at the bottom of the top 10 all year long, and just see if they can get one of these teams to be undefeated by the end.
Yep. At number 8, you have Cam Ward and the Miami Hurricanes.
They got through the scare with Cal. And now we got to see they got a big test. We'll talk about that later on when we do our picks. But big test this weekend, going on the road again.
At 7, you got the LSU Tigers.
LSU Tiger again. Nussmeier, the quarterback. I love the way this kid's playing. He's big, he's strong, and he can throw the ball down the field.
At 6, you have the Ohio State Buckeyes.
we'll get to more of Ohio State breakdown when we get to the top of the rankings here, but Ohio State lost the game.
Mm-hmm.
They lost. They had what they did at the end of that game. It was atrocious.
Yeah.
How do you not kick a field goal? That's coach Ed. How do you let the quarterback run the clock out? Like that was the worst coaching I've ever seen.
And they had timeouts in their back pocket.
I don't understand why they even ran a play. If you're going to run a play, it's got to be, all right, we're just throwing the ball just to run timeout. I just think they wanted to end the game. I don't know what they were thinking.
I don't know what they were thinking either. I called that game, and I couldn't believe I was watching it. I could not believe what I was watching. To the top 5 we go, and at 5 we start with Alabama.
Yep, that Alabama's gonna stay strong, and they got the big game with Tennessee coming up this weekend. Big rivalry game, and it's good to see that rivalry back in action.
It is. It's very good to see that back, and I'm gonna love covering that one. At 4, you got the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Penn State, again, they fall into that category of they're undefeated, but who have they really beaten? They haven't played anybody yet. And they overtime with USC. USC's now got 3 losses. So that's not going to be a good mark on their thing. That's why they're this far down.
To the top 3 we go, and at number 3, you have a perennial championship contender in the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, and again, that's the difference between Georgia and Penn State. Most people will say, "Oh, Penn State's undefeated; they should be ahead." Yeah, Georgia's loss was at Alabama, but their best win is against Clemson, who's another top 10 team. They destroyed Clemson. And
sure did.
Meanwhile, Penn State hasn't played anybody. That's why I still put Georgia just ahead of them.
It's going to be a fun fight to the playoff. And at number 2, as we'll break down this game even more. At number 2, quack quack, you got the Oregon Ducks.
Again, the Duck. This was the toss up for me. Dude. Oregon and Georgia. I went with Oregon right now. I could easily slot Georgia ahead because, again, people say, "Oh, Oregon beat Ohio State." Oregon didn't win that game. Ohio State lost. Ohio State lost the game. Oregon didn't win. Ohio State lost.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then, who else? The Texas Longhorns at number 1.
What happened at the Texas State Fair was a massacre. They massacred Oklahoma. Oklahoma didn't stand a chance in that game, and
Oklahoma took the early lead in that game, 3-0.
Yeah, they took a 3-0 lead, and then by the time it was the first quarter, it was 17-3.
It was 17-3.
They were getting smoked.
That's our top 15 presented by BetUS.com. And speaking of what happened at the Texas State Fair, let's go over that game. Oklahoma scored the first 3 points of the game, led 3-0 at the end of 1. Then Texas woke up.
Yeah, what else are you going to do at the Texas State Fair? I mean, by the time everybody got their fried Oreos and everything, Texas is already bombs away, and it just showed that what Texas has going, and that Texas is more than just the offense. Their defense was stout. Mm-hmm. And that was the biggest thing that I was looking at. The second thing is Oklahoma. I don't know what Oklahoma was doing at quarterback because their quarterback cannot throw the ball. And every time he ran the ball, he fumbled. I don't know what they're doing.
And it's a true freshman at quarterback. With Michael Hawkins, they started. It's the first ever freshman to start against Texas, and all Steve Sarkisian did, the only 2 words that Steve Sarkisian said to the Texas defense was "sick 'em," and they did.
Yeah, the kid was running for his life. Every play he was running for his life, and there's a reason why freshmen don't play in that game.
Right.
There's a reason.
There's a reason you don't start a freshman in the Cotton Bowl at the Texas State Fair in a game against the number 1 rated Texas Longhorns. It looked like Texas was going to fumble the game away, but then Michael Hawkins realized he was a freshman, and Texas went after him.
And he gave it right back to him.
Oh my gosh!
That's it.
And went right back to him, and they beat him up for the entire game. They beat him up.
Yeah, I mean that was the one thing I felt bad for the game. I mean, yeah, it's great to be. Hey, I'm a freshman. I'm starting at Oklahoma. I'm starting the Tech. He got beaten up, and I hope he's able to take that as, hey, this is my lumps, and I'm going to come back and get it. He's got a lot more chances to do that. But this was a bad outing. The line looked terrible, and Texas just showed that they have seniors on the defense that just said, "We're coming, and we're going to make this kid throw the ball," and he couldn't.
Now to Eugene, Oregon, and the game we started to break down. Oregon did not win this game. I agree with you. I called this game, start to finish. I called this game, and I rode solo. When my wife comes in, looks at this game, and says, Ohio State's going to pull this one out. And then when I go to bed, and she said, did Ohio State pull it out? And I tell her, no. She blames me, playfully, of course, for Ohio State losing that game. But Ohio State did it to themselves.
Look, I get it. Maybe you don't want to kick. Why you wouldn't try a field goal there? I have no idea. Like, I get it. College kicker, probably not going to hit that field goal.
Right.
The percentages on that are probably not that good. But you've got to give it a shot. You're down 1 with 6 seconds left. Your quarterback cannot run up the middle on any play that happens.
He didn't even look at the sidelines. He did not even look at the sidelines.
It has to be 3 steps and out of bounds or into the dirt. You cannot let time run off. You cannot let time run off the clock. If you miss a field goal there, I'm way more to go. All right, Ohio State, you went into Oregon, you played a tough game, you lost by 1 point. But to lose the way they did, it just shows they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Clock mismanagement at its finest.
Is that going to be is that now a Ryan Day staple? And Chris, it was something that you had predicted when Ryan Day took over. And I remember Dietz saying this to me 6 years ago, when he said Ryan Day is going to have a staple where he continually messes up something. And this is it. It's the clock management.
It's been a problem for him at every step. I mean, you go back to Georgia when they played Georgia in a national semifinal. They had the lead in that game. They had the lead.
A big one.
They had a huge lead, and they let Georgia come back. They had the ball at the end. They just mismanaged the drive. That's just a staple of what Ryan Day is doing.
Yep.
And the thing is, you've got a guy in your ear who's great at clock management in Chip Kelly.
And you didn't listen to him.
There's no excuse for Ryan Day right now.
No. Now, one more game I want to look at. It was the third game I had planned to call, but then I leaned back in my comfy chair, and the next thing I knew, it was 2 a.m. in the morning. That's this one, Kansas State and Colorado. And I said this when Deion Sanders took over as the coach of Colorado. I will say it again. There's a lot of fool's gold going on now in Colorado.
There's a lot. What happened is they let Kansas State get out in front. And what happened with Colorado, they played well to get back in the game.
Yes,
but they were down by too much. They were down by too much by the time they started playing.
Yeah, and that seems to become a trend. That seems to have become a trend with Deion Sanders as the coach. Would you agree?
That's definitely been his MO is when things are going wrong, they just go wrong. They go wrong real fast. Mm-hmm. And by the time they righted the ship, I mean, there wasn't enough time. I mean, if there's 5 minutes more of that game, Colorado probably wins.
Yeah.
But the problem is there wasn't. They ran out of time.
Yeah, they ran out of time. All right. Speaking of which, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll look at Dietz's games to watch this weekend. And we got some picks to make. You're inside Totally Dietz on the second hour of Snowman in the Morning. Back after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
I want to do a TED Talk, but I don't have anything to talk about yet. I'm getting there.
Life is for the living. We're not here that long.
You can learn anything you want to learn without any money spent.
What do I really enjoy? What do I really want out of life?
I am your host, WIZE.
Are you in a life-holding pattern? Well, this is for you. Welcome to the Stuck in My Mind podcast. Live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central. Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy and now begins a future one of matrimony, or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network, in association with Comey Media Incorporated, proudly present The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Whether it's the men's college game,
the way that this season has been going, yeah, anything is possible.
The women's college game,
and how passionate Angel Reese was at that press conference, they got their mojo now.
The WNBA,
AJ Williams stood at 1 and 2, followed by Brittany Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Young,
or the NBA.
The Lakers had a 0.8 chance of winning, and then what happened in the fourth quarter? LeBron James by himself outdid the Clippers.
You will get any and all of the information right at your fingertips or your earlobes. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down all things basketball in Shooting Lights Out on the Playmaker's blog, network, YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts. Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
We're inside Totally Dietz here during hour 2. And boy, we still got a lot to cover as we have hit the bottom of the hour. Now let's take a look at Dietz's games to watch. We've picked 3 that we're going to look at. And the first one is this one, Miami at Louisville, and that's noon Eastern.
Yeah, big game for Miami. Last time we saw Miami play on the road was at Cal, and we all know how that happened. And Louisville is not going to give up a 22-point lead in the fourth quarter.
No, so they're not.
Miami's really got to bunker down and come out. Cam Ward's got to show that he's really the leader of that team, and I think they really have to rely on the running game.
Let me get Dog's opinion on this game, because I know this is one of the ones that you were looking at also, and we talked about this in pre-show. This is one of your wild card games this weekend, is it not?
Yeah, this was literally on the list. Like 7:20 this morning is when I actually added this game to our pick list, because something just screamed out at me. Miami's trying to stay undefeated. Louisville has been hard-nosed the last handful of games. Mm-hmm. Something tells me this is going to go down to fourth quarter possessions. And I cannot wait to see how this game plays.
Here's the thing I have with Louisville. They're coming off of a home loss against SMU, a game that they should not have lost in the first place. And yet they surrendered a lead against SMU. I'm about to say LSU. They surrendered a lead against SMU and allowed SMU to run away. They can't allow Miami to run away, especially, Dietz, I come back to you. They cannot allow Cam Ward to be Cam Ward in this game.
Well, I think they can't, but I really think the game changer for this game is Damian Martinez. And we haven't seen him have a breakout game in the Miami backfield. This is a kid who led the Pac-12 in rushing last year. Mm-hmm. Right? This is a kid who can run the football. I think Miami really has to run the football here because they have to keep the ball away from Louisville.
Yeah, they do, because Louisville loves to put up points and they love to put up yards, and they're going to try to do both on Saturday. Second game we're going to look at, this one here, Alabama and Tennessee in the SEC, 104,000 maniacs inside the checkerboards at Neyland Stadium. Dietz, your thoughts?
Both teams need to win this game. I mean, more so Tennessee than Alabama can overcome where they're at right now. But
yeah,
this is a statement game for Tennessee. Josh, we all know Josh Heupel's offense. Alabama struggled with them last year with Nick Saban as their coach. It'll be interesting to see how they handle that pressure and just the pressure of that offense of play after play after play. You cannot give up the big play against them.
Upstairs to the Dog on this one. We all talked about this again in pre-show. It's in Knoxville. There's going to be 100,000 plus fans, as I mentioned, at Neyland Stadium. But I agree with Dietz. This is one Tennessee has to have more than Alabama.
Easily. Tennessee wants to try to make the playoffs this year. They have to beat Alabama in their house. And this is going to be one of those games where if they don't do it, I'm sorry, they're not making the playoffs this year, plain and simple.
Downstairs to Droid, let's have a look in his crystal ball at this particular game. Alabama and Tennessee, it's a 3:30 kick. It's in Knoxville. What do you think would be a big key to this game for Tennessee to pull this one out?
I mean, it's going to be pretty simple for you, Brian. I'm just going to keep it plain and simple. One big thing that they need to realize is they've lost Alabama's lost in Tennessee before. You know, they took that big loss to Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, but this ain't no Vanderbilt. This is Tennessee.
Right.
This is not a opponent you can even remotely underestimate. No, you have to treat Tennessee like it's the playoffs. And that's what Arkansas did. That's how Arkansas beat Tennessee. They treated it like a playoff game.
All right. And then, of course, the big one that we'll have here on the network, it is Georgia and Texas at 7:30 downstairs to Dietz. Have at it.
This is the game that solidifies Texas, and this is the game that's at Tech. everybody in the chat on Saturday watching all the games, and no matter what game you were watching in the chat on YouTube, you always had people going, "Oh, Texas is not an SEC team. Texas is not an SEC team."
And they just beat the hell out of Oklahoma, who's also an SEC team.
Georgia, Texas is an SEC team.
You know when I thought Texas was an SEC team last year when they went into Bryant-Denny Stadium and kicked their ass. I thought they were an SEC team last year, even though they were still playing out of the Big 12 when they went to Alabama and won. This is a big one for Texas, yes, but I think they've already solidified themselves as an SEC team, Dietz.
Now, in that fan base, it's not about beating Oklahoma. Texas and Oklahoma again. Texas and Oklahoma are outsiders right now. They're outsiders in the SEC in that fan base. That fan base will not embrace them until they beat Georgia and they beat Alabama. Those are the two games that are going to make people go, all right, Texas is now in the SEC, because right now Texas is just they're there. They don't even mention them as an SEC team. The SEC lifers are never going to accept them if they cannot beat Georgia or Alabama.
I hate you, Droid. That was our theme yesterday. That was our theme yesterday when we did Broad Sectional Confessions. We're like, they're just there. And if you think about what Dietz is saying, he's absolutely right. SEC lifers do not look, at least not yet, at Texas and Oklahoma at SEC teams. I go downstairs to Droid. They're just there right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Coming from the Big 12, a lot of these SEC teams look at these Big 12 teams and they really underestimate them. And this is Texas and Oklahoma's chance to say, we're not just Big 12 teams no more. No. We're in the SEC now. And you better treat us like we're in the SEC or else we're going to smack you.
And this is the one. This is the one that will solidify Texas in the SEC should they win Saturday night. Upstairs to the dog. Take a peek in your crystal ball at this one.
Georgia needs this more than Texas right now. If Georgia's going to have a chance to make the playoffs, they need to beat Texas in Texas's house. Plain and simple. And right now, I do not think Georgia has the ability to do it. I'm sorry, AJ Styles, but your dogs have got some problems heading into Texas Saturday night.
Just on that point, Georgia can recover from this.
Yes,
and Georgia can recover from this by making the SEC. They still have a road to the SEC championship. Even if they lose to Texas, they would have losses to Texas and Alabama. If they beat Tennessee, they're going to the SEC championship game.
Right.
So, Texas still has to go through Alabama. They still have to go through LSU. They still have to go through all the SEC West teams, Ole Miss. All of those teams are still in front of Texas to stop them from getting to the SEC championship. Georgia can still make the SEC championship game even if they lose this game.
Yeah, they can they can absolutely back their way in and recover from their two biggest losses, should they lose this game on Saturday, would be on the road at Alabama and on the road at Texas. Okay, and both the top five teams. So as you said, Dietz, Georgia can easily recover from this game. Whereas with Texas, with not only a playoff spot on the line, the number one ranking on the line, also plus a whole lot of playoff position rides on the line also for Texas.
And it's gonna come down to how Texas play, how this game plays out, because what have we all said? We all said things about the Big 12. We talked about the Big 12 for years. I made the statement on the Big 12 where defense is optional. Yes. Now you're in the SEC. They have to show that they can play defense. They have to show defense. Like it doesn't matter if they come out and win a shootout with Georgia, which is a possibility. Anything could happen. We saw what Georgia can do against Alabama when they came back and started playing in that game. But if this game is a shootout, everybody's going to go, oh, well, this isn't a real SEC team. Wait till they play, get in a defensive struggle. It's going to come down to how this game plays out. and they can't just shoot out. They got to show up on defense.
They do. Let's take one final break, and when we come back, we're going to go nuts with our picks. And this time, Dietz is picking with us. Uh-oh. We got some Donnybrooks coming up, and we may even take a peek in the group of Power 5, if time permits. Back in the deuce.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Quinn.
Moment of clarity. I haven't watched BT in years.
KP.
Drake needs to come back with another triple platinum album.
E Digger.
And then you have Ray J. Like, I can't stand that River Cricket.
The Guru.
Okay, the level of crack she's smoking, I don't want it.
BS3 Network proudly presents the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, where from card tips to hot topics to meep of the week, anything goes. Live every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Central. Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered the winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text. Delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sertoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels. Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be hurt.
Nicole.
A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King podcast. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
We kind of premiered something this morning, and it's this. Yep, the hockey god now has an intro, and I think I woke him up with that. Every week we'll have our.
I've been like working on this Mellow Dotson cutout so I can make you a thumbnail for next week's rivalry game.
Oh, you want to see it again? Of course you do. I put that together this morning. Every week we'll have our spin around the NHL with the hockey god himself, Mr. Droid, and we're going to try to make it a day. We're going to try to make it a daily happening. All right, time to wrap this up as we speed down the stretch here, and it's time for us to make some picks, college football style. I will flash the game, and Dog will give us the numbers, and we'll go around the horn and make our picks. Take it away, Dog.
Let's start this party off. Number 6, Miami going into Louisville. Miami is favorite. Before we get too much further, all the lines and picks are brought to you by BetUS.com. BetUS, where the game begins. Miami's favored by 5, and the over-under is set at 61. Snowman, kick it.
61. You better make it
the over-under.
You better make it 71. You know, I go back. I liken this game to 2002 when Louisville played number 4 Florida State and beat them. Now, granted, it was in the monsoon. It was the first year at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. But the hell with it. I'm going with Louisville, and I'm taking the points.
Dietz, hammer down.
I'm going with Louisville as well, and I think they keep it low. I think they keep it low scoring. I'm actually taking the under in this one.
Droid?
I'm a big, where Louisville has always produced some elite quarterbacks throughout the years. And I think they got another one on their hands here, and so that's the reason I'm going to pick Louisville.
All right, Dog. It's on you.
I'm flying solo on this one. Cam Ward is too much. Miami's going to keep their undefeated season going.
All right. We go to Champaign, Illinois for the next one. A battle of 2 ranked teams, Michigan at Illinois. And for the first time since 2000, these 2 teams are ranked. Dog?
Michigan, 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is set at a measly 44. And I'm thinking it's going to be higher. But Snowman, lead us off.
I'm going with Illinois. Going with the home team. They got screwed in 2000. Yes, I still remember that game when a fumble was not called a fumble and Michigan was allowed to keep the football. This ends Michigan's season. I'm going with the Fighting Illini at Memorial Stadium. My buddy Brian Barnhart, the longtime voice of the Fighting Illini. Bring me a victory, my man. ILLINI. I'm going with Illinois.
Dietz, what you got?
Too much Michigan running game. Edwards will have his day. He'll eat on that Illinois defense. I'm going too much Michigan. I'll take Michigan.
Droid?
Neither of these teams are amazing. I'll say that. They're not amazing. There's nothing to ogle about. But I like Luke Altmaier a bit too much.
All right.
So I'm going to go with the Fighting Illini.
Wrap it up, Dog.
Give me Big Blue in Michigan. They're going to make Illinois a feast. I got a feeling it's going to be one of those games, but I'm saying it's going to be a lot closer than what people are thinking.
Okay, so we're split on that one. Let's go to Norman. We go to South Carolina at Oklahoma. It's all yours, Shane.
Oklahoma's favored by 3. Over-under is only set at 40.5. Snowman,
I'm going with the visitors. I'm going with South Carolina. They nearly snuck out of Bama with a win had they not missed a 2-point conversion and left 10 points on the table. They don't leave those points on the table. They beat Alabama at Bryant-Denny. They're going to go into Norman and make Oklahoma feel like they're back. They should be back in the Big 12. I'm going with South Carolina.
Dietz?
Yeah, what a game with Spencer Rattler getting his first NFL start. You got the Spencer Rattler Bowl here with South Carolina at Oklahoma. I'll go with the last place Spencer Rattler was at. I'll take the Gamecocks as well.
Right?
Give me the Gamecocks.
Clean sweep with a whole bunch of cockiness going on. I'm taking South Carolina.
Let's go to Atlanta. We find the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, or as Keith Jackson once said, and Dietz, you remember this, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame Gelat. Of course, that was his description when they played Michigan in 1989. We got the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame Gelat taking on the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech.
And the thing is, this ain't going to be in Georgia Tech's house. This is in the Superdome.
It's in Mercedes-Benz. It's in Mercedes-Benz.
And Notre Dame favored by 11. The over-under set at a clean 49. Snowman, what you got?
Okay, this is in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's in Atlanta. Notre Dame is ranked. Notre Dame is favored. All right, I'm going to do this against my better judgment, and I know my wife is going to pop me one for this, but the hell with it. I'm going with a home team to cover and to win. I'm going with Georgia Tech.
Dietz?
You think this is the home team? Notre Dame is going to pack that. At a neutral site, Notre Dame is going to pack that stadium. Notre Dame is the home team in this game. I guarantee you there will be more Notre Dame fans there than there are Georgia Tech.
I believe it. I believe it.
It's going to come down to Marcus Freeman's defense. I think I'll take Notre Dame.
Good.
Give me that rambling wreck, Georgia Tech.
Go for it, dog.
I'm sorry, but even football Jesus can't do anything against the house that once held the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Give me Georgia Tech.
And you know something, Dietz? You're absolutely right. Notre Dame's going to sell that stadium out on its own. All right, they always
a neutral site game is a Notre Dame home game. There's no way.
I mean, I should know better. I've been to 2 games at Soldier Field where Notre Dame was supposed to be at a neutral site, and they blew out Soldier Field. I should know better. But that's why we make our picks, and that's why I agree with Dietz when he said this to me 8 years ago when he first joined me. College football is so much more fun to look at. Speaking of fun, let's go to Tucson, Arizona. We got the Colorado Buffaloes and the Arizona Wildcats.
Arizona's favored by 3. Over-under is set at 58. No, man?
Arizona's going to blow Colorado out. That offensive line is a sieve. The defensive line is even worse. And Travis Hunter is going to get worn out playing both sides of the ball, though he's a hell of an athlete. That Arizona is licking their chops after getting blown out by BYU, and they're at home. Give me Arizona to win against Colorado.
Dietz?
I'm going with the Buffaloes. Travis Hunter, if he wants a Heisman Trophy, this has got to be his game. He's got to take over the game. Basically, say, Shadur, give me the ball. Just go Keyshawn and just throw me the damn ball.
I haven't heard that in years. I love it.
Droid, what you got?
Give me the Buffaloes, honestly. Like, I love Arizona to death, but it's like Colorado has just been an amazing team. I mean, they kept it close against Kansas State. We can't lie there. So I'm gonna go Colorado.
All right.
I've got Arizona in this one. I'm sorry, Shadur, but you ain't got a chance in Arizona.
I don't trust Shadur Sanders. I just don't. Don't ask me why. I just don't. Let's go to Little Rock. SEC matchup. LSU and Arkansas, dog.
LSU is favored by 2.5, and the over-under set at 55.5. Snowman, this is going to be a close one.
This is indeed going to be close. I'm going to take the under, but I'm going to take LSU to cover and to win this game.
Dietz?
Yeah, too much Nussmeier at quarterback. Like I said, he's too big, and he can just throw the ball down the field. Arkansas don't have the horses to keep with the LSU wide receivers.
Right.
I watched the ending of that LSU Ole Miss game, and oh my goodness, Nussmeier was a dog.
Mm-hmm.
So give me Nussmeier and the LSU Tigers.
Clean sweep. I believe that means go Tigers.
All right, let's go to Evanston, Illinois. The Wisconsin Badgers taking on my beloved Northwestern Wildcats with Dave Bennett on the play-by-play call on WGN. Dog?
Wisconsin's favored by 7. The over-under set at 41.5. Something tells me that this game is going to be a lot closer than what people are thinking.
And I'm going to do this. This is the second time I've done this. Droid made me pay for it the first time. I don't think I'll pay for it this time. I'm going with the home team, and I'm going with the Wildcats, because every time these two teams get together, when Wisconsin is favored, and it's been true since 1995, Northwestern always has a trick up their sleeve. I think they got a trick up their sleeve this time. His name is Cam Porter. I'm going with the Northwestern running game to beat the Wisconsin Badgers.
Dietz?
Yeah, I'm going with Northwestern just to set up the big game next week.
All right.
Which is Northwestern and Iowa. The big
Yes.
Iowa game.
Yes.
So if to make that game important, Northwestern's got to pull it out. So I'm going with Northwestern.
And you's got to get this one before we see the Iowa Hawkeyes. Go ahead, Droid.
Give me Wisconsin. I'm sorry. I've been right when I've picked against Northwestern so far. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Give me Wisconsin.
Oh boy.
I'm taking Northwestern because I want to see a fight in Iowa.
I want to see a fight in Iowa also. Let's go to the Swamp. The Kentucky Wildcats against the Florida Gators. Dog.
Funny thing is, before I rechecked the line this morning, this game was listed at even odds. And now it's swung in favor of Kentucky by 1.5. The over-under is set at 42.5.
Kentucky's going to force me to pick them. They're going to force me to pick them. Hell with it. Kentucky to cover and to win. Hell with it. I don't trust Florida, even at home.
Dietz?
Just the fact that this game was set at even right off the rip just tells you everything you need to know about Florida. I'm taking Kentucky. I'm taking Kentucky, and it's not even going to be close.
Good.
Kentucky.
He doesn't even look at the game.
I'm flying solo on this one. I'm taking Florida, but it's going to be a dogfight.
You'll be sorry.
I've got a 2-game lead in the standings. I can afford one.
I'll say it again. You'll be sorry.
Don't make me turn this into rabbit season.
But then again, my wife has said that to me. All right, let's go to Morgantown, West Virginia. We got the Kansas State Wildcats and the West Virginia Mountaineers.
KSU is favored by 3. Over under set at a staggering 56. Tells me we got a barn burner coming.
I'm even going to give a score for this game. Kansas State 44, West Virginia 38, but I think it'll require a 5th period to get there.
Dietz?
They say lightning doesn't strike twice. And last time a Kansas team was in West Virginia, lightning hit the stadium. So I'm taking Kansas State. I think Kansas State is going to blow. They're going to blow out West Virginia.
Good.
Does this look not tell you everything you need to know?
Give me Kansas State. Let's move on.
Lightning may strike twice, but I'm saying it's going in favor of West Virginia. I'm taking the home team in this one.
All right, and this is the one that we have saved for last. Let's go to Austin, Texas.
You skipped one, Snowman.
Oh, no, I didn't.
You forgot Bama, Tennessee.
Nah, leave that off the board. Okay, Bama, Tennessee. Before I flash this one, Bama, Tennessee. Go ahead.
Bama favored by 7. Over-unders at 56.
Tennessee for the upset. I'm calling it right now. If I'm wrong against Bama for the 3rd time this year, then I'm wrong for the 3rd time this year. I'll take that L proudly. But I got the home team. I got Tennessee.
Dietz?
Too much Jalen Milroe. I'm going with Alabama.
Right.
Bama bounce back game. Give me Bama.
And I'm taking Bama myself. I'm sorry, Tennessee, but your checkers are about to turn black and white.
Yeah, I believe it. Now the feature game. Now the feature game that we'll have on Snowman Multimedia Saturday night. The 5th-rated Georgia Bulldogs take on the top-ranked Texas Longhorns.
Texas is favored by 4.5. The over-under set at 56. Snowman, you got this game on the stick.
I do.
Who you got on the board?
I think the Horns solidified themselves as an SEC team. I mean, I love my Bulldogs. I've loved them since 1980. But as Dog once said, I may be a homer, but I ain't stupid. Give me the Texas Longhorns to cover and to win this game in Austin in front of 102,000.
Dietz?
As I said before, this is the game where Texas has to prove they're an SEC team. Georgia's already an SEC team. I'm taking Georgia to win.
It could go either way. It could definitely go either way. Horns. He's going with the Horns.
And all I got is horns down.
Oh,
he's going with the Dogs.
The fake.
He's going with the Dogs.
Give me the Dogs.
And all I gotta say is,
don't do it.
What? Don't do what?
Don't do it. I know what you're gonna do.
He's gonna try and do the chant.
Don't do it.
Coming down the track.
Oh God.
Give me
my
Georgia.
guess is my guess. You know what?
Georgia.
This could go this game could go either way, and this might be the first of. And I've said this before, and I've been wrong, but I don't think I'll be wrong here. This could be the first of not only 2, but maybe 3 with these two.
And ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget all the lines and picks are brought to you by BetUS.com. BetUS, where the games begin. Use code Snowman for 125% deposit match. Let's get out of here.
Let's do that.
The big question, Snowman, is I know you're going to call this game. Are you going to balance out the Georgia call? Are you going to say
yes?
Are you going to call?
I'm going to be totally.
Our Longhorns have the ball at the Longhorn this yard line.
You know what?
Every single call is going to be Dogs on this side, Dogs on that side. The Dogs are doing this.
Listen, I know both announcers very well. Scott Howard will call the game for the Dogs on the Georgia IMG radio network, on the Georgia Learfield radio network. And of course, one of my best friends in broadcasting. I hope to get him on the show soon. The longtime voice of the Texas Longhorns, Craig Way, will voice the action for the Texas Longhorns. Dietz, always a pleasure, my man. We love you very much. You make college football fun, and we appreciate you.
I appreciate you saying that, but college football is just fun.
Yes, it is.
I just report it. It is so much. It's so much fun to cover college football.
Thanks, Dietz. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Passionate.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Unflinching.
Let's go back to losing. Parking was easier.
Unrelenting.
They're not going to keep him off the field tonight.
Totally.
This one has a chance.
Dietz.
That's not just a murmur, that's a full-blown fibrillation.
Don't forget, this Saturday night, we got the big one, the Georgia Bulldogs and the Texas Longhorns. And I'm going to call the game for both sides. As these ask me, am I going to be fair in calling this game? I most certainly am, because I heard both networks.
What's that coming down the track?
Shut up.
Shut it!
Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. Football Friday tomorrow. So long, everybody. And by the way, big dog,
what?
You a bitch.
What
See
I
you tomorrow.
say?